Well, hello and welcome to Business New Zealand Policy Roundtable for Monday, the 12th of October. I'm Grant Walker. Well, New Zealand home loan rates have dropped below 2% for the first time ever. Heartland Bank has released a one-year fixed loan rate at 1.99%, the lowest home loan rate in our history. That comes as a Financial Markets Authority report showed for the first time more than $1 billion was withdrawn from KiwiSaver by first-time home buyers in a single 12-month period to the end of March. More than 1.5 million votes have already been cast by early voters, with 450,000 Kiwis voting over this weekend alone. The Electoral Commission has released its latest stats on voter numbers in the final weekend before the election. With more than 700,000 votes cast before Saturday, the Commission said it was expecting numbers to top 1 million by this morning, a more than 50% increase on the last election. Business New Zealand says uncertain immigration settings are putting jobs at risk. Around 60 chief executives of major companies have signed a report put together by Business New Zealand's Major Companies Group, which calls for a new post-COVID game plan for business. The group is urging whoever takes office after the election to focus on 4 key areas which it believes will give New Zealand its best chance of recovery. They are infrastructure, jobs, the economy, and border management. Business New Zealand CEO Kirk Hope joins me now. Kirk, first of all, why was the report necessary?
Well, what we wanted to do was sort of get a group of CEOs from some of New Zealand's largest companies, listed and unlisted, and get their thoughts on some economic guidance for the government post-COVID. So we ran a series of Zoom sprints with them. We got around about 60 CEOs to input. And the way that we did it was we said bring your couple of 2 or 3 of your best ideas, and then within the group you choose 2 or 3 of the best ideas from the group. And they were remarkably consistent, and they cover 4 kind of key areas in terms of jobs and skills, infrastructure, the border, and the economy.
I wonder why, though, at the end of the day, we've just had an election, or run up to the election with just a few days to go. Is there a remarkable difference between what we're hearing on offer from the political parties to what you were hearing from these 60 companies?
No, I think the difference is probably in scope, scale, aspiration, and pace. That's how I would describe it, across all of those areas. I mean, I think there's probably, and I accept that the election has slowed a range of these things down, but certainly in the infrastructure space, if you take that as an example, there was a real frustration that if we were out of lockdown, which we were for a while, there was still going to be impediments and roadblocks to getting some of the projects, the big projects that would be job rich, underway, and there were challenges with some of the funding as it would come from local bodies. And at that stage, they were all pretty stretched, looking at declining revenues and increased costs. So there was some frustration around the possibility that some of those projects would be held up. And as it happened, the government changed some of the rules in relation to local body funding, which has been helpful. So some of those things were already underway. I think what the CEOs wanted was real pace and bigger scale. And subsequent to a lot of the information that we got through the Zoom calls, for example, National's proposed $31 billion worth of infrastructure. Execution is going to be critical. Whoever the government is, right? The current government, they promised some, $18 to $20 billion. So whoever it is, they need to do it at pace.
Because there was a lot of talk about, shovel ready. And I suppose if you hear the word or the term shovel ready, you think it can start tomorrow. But that's just bollocks. It's not going to start tomorrow, a lot of those things. And you also talk about job rich. A lot of them are short-term jobs that when it's done, they're gone.
Which is why the other thing that you need to figure out is that pipeline of activity that's going on through the economy. So right now, I mean, if you don't have international students coming into the country, and I know that there's just been an announcement today, which is good, but it's quite low scale in terms of 250 PhD students coming back in. If the universities don't have that money, what they will be doing is putting their own investment and capital investment programs on hold. Now, that filters into a big pipeline of of planned infrastructure projects that should be happening around the country. Some of those things will be on hold. You need them all to be kind of planned out in advance so that you can get through them really get them started as quickly as possible, and get them underway, because they do take a long time.
So you've got those two issues. One is money, which is you've got the money here, but it's not a good time to spend it because you know that you're not going to have as much money with the students going down. And then you've also got the big thing, which is the RMA, which is what needs to change for a lot of this infrastructure. And we've heard it for years and years. We've heard it for 9 years. Of course, National will turn around and say, well, we didn't have the numbers to change the RMA. And is it going to be any different this time?
Yeah,
and how quickly can you do it?
Well, I mean, so interestingly, the current government had triggered a review of the RMA, and they basically said for some of those so-called shovel-ready projects that they would have a shorter RMA process, which they put in place, which to their credit they put in place because they recognise that you can't spend 2 years going through some of those processes. You really needed those things to be up and running and underway. So they've got a process for that to help in the short term. The bigger question that you rightly raise is the longer term prospects for the RMA, and they don't look that great because both major political parties have said we want change to enable good quality development. That doesn't just mean bulldozing the environment. Let's be clear about that. What it means is a better balance in terms of enabling not only infrastructure building, but infrastructure building that enables productivity and communities to be much better connected and much better circumstances for living in, frankly.
Border management. In the time of COVID, it's really difficult to talk about it because you just have one slip up and everyone goes close the border again. It's one of those things where, is flexibility the word that needs to be used?
No, I think really high quality risk management and a clear set of protocols and criteria for the private sector to participate if in need we need to scale up.
So in terms of, you've got this report, you've put it out, what are you hoping you're going to see from whichever government we have next week?
I would suggest that what we want to see is exactly what I alluded to that the CEOs wanted, which is scope, scale, pace, all increasing.
Is there an order?
Aspiration increasing. Well, I think they're interconnected, right? The infrastructure, the pace of infrastructure spend and build will increase the rate of jobs, right? Decrease the rate of joblessness. So the jobs and skills and the infrastructure are related, and that's also related to the economy. More people in work are spending money in the economy. And again, as we're going to be a domestic economy for the next little while, that's really important.
In terms of, is there one thing in there that is more urgent than the others? And I know you say that they're interconnected, but we hear from the government time and time again, we're going to do this. It's all that gunner versus we did it. And governments are notoriously slow. They're very fast in saying what they're going to do, but notoriously slow in getting the legislation required through.
I would say that, without a doubt, the pace and scale that the infrastructure development is undertaken is going to be really critical. All right,
Kirk, next time we speak, we will hopefully have an idea who the next government will be, and we will catch you then.
Thank you.